What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we've got more XFL news. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Listen, guys, you know that I've had some sponsored videos, and I just want to take some time, and I just want to say, if you're out there, you provide a service, times are tough right now. Things are hard. Hit me up. Send me a message, and I'll try to hook you up and give you some support on this channel. So leave me a message, let me know down in the comment section, give me an email, whatever, and I'll try to hook you guys up. This community, we need to stick together, us fans, and what better way can I do than just use the platform that I have? And you guys are just amazing, and you've been amazing to me, so why not give back to you? So if you got anything like that, let me know, and maybe we can work something out and get some things out there. So let's go ahead and let's move on. Let's look at the XFL, because it came out today, and this is kind of a big deal. It's a weird thing, and it gets into legally. So pretty much what happened was it came out yesterday. Big news that Dany Garcia, The Rock, and Redbird Capital came together, and they pretty much bought the XFL outright. Now, what we were hearing was that they pretty much just got the buy it now option, and that they went through and that they went through and they bought it. Well, it looks more and more as we go down kind of the road with this thing, it looks like that really they were the only viable bidder that actually presented a bid that was kind of worthy. Supposedly they received other bids, but yet the companies really didn't pan out and didn't really look like they were financially stable enough to really take on the XFL. So pretty much it was like it was the only one, so there's no reason to have an auction, so they automatically sold it to them, and that's kind of how everything happened. Supposedly, again, we don't know anything else. We don't really know exactly what all happened, but those are the reports that we're hearing. So the sale goes through, and here's the thing about the sale. So there's a group of creditors, and the creditors for Alpha Entertainment, which is the parent company for the XFL. What they do is they're comprised of all the people that are owed money by and represent all of those creditors of the XFL. And pretty much they put in a 13-page motion pretty much stating that the sale of their assets of what they are was way too low, and that what they're going to be getting out of this really doesn't compensate what is due them. They're not against the sale. They actually put in there that they think that it's fine to sell it to the company, to this group of partners, but it's just too little of money, not enough money. So that's kind of where we're standing with this thing. So they filed this motion with the bankruptcy court. We'll see what happens with it. We'll keep our eye to it. We'll keep, our ear to what's going on. It looks like that this is just going to be kind of some type of formality. Who knows? The bankruptcy court might just let it go through. I don't know. Everything seems to be on the up and up. There doesn't seem to be any sleight of hand or anything like that underneath that. It looks to be legitimate. And so, with saying that, I think that the sale is going to go through. Now, whether or not they might negotiate up to a higher price, I don't know about that. I don't know where that's going to land when we're all said and done. I know the whole thing of the $8.5 million that's still out there being owed has been kind of thrown around. I don't know. I think here's just my take on it. I think they buy the XFL $15 million and kind of go from there. And just pay everything. So it's pretty much, they're paying for that, and then they go through and pay it all. But really what's actually happening here, and part of the reason why they put in this motion to kind of stop the sale was the fact that it went from, the sale of it and then paying the debtors to being a lump sum $15 million for and that covers everything. And that's what they agreed upon. So it was kind of a switch of what the creditors were looking, to get. So it was like they were getting their stuff on top of whatever the XFL sold for. So it was going to be their stuff and the XFL, from what it seems to be, I'm taking, or their portion of whatever, and it all got lumped into that $15 million, which for them wasn't enough money. So it looks like they're looking to get more money out of that. We'll see what happens. We'll definitely keep our ear to it. As more information comes out, we will definitely look at that. And I know I saw you guys, yes, it's funny. Florio, his boys over there, and at NBC, they still are going out there and getting their digs. They had to get their digs into the XFL, just get it in there, and that way, which I find humorous, and I think that it's funny, just how they take the story like that and just kind of go to nudge just to show just another way to just jab at the XFL and the way that things are written. It's kind of funny. We know that really the big boys in sports, especially around professional football, have not liked the XFL since day one. The XFL has been looked down upon. And this is also the case as well. But, we'll see what happens. We'll move on with that. The next thing is we are looking at NBC and going to another article, and they did an interview with Dany Garcia. And if you get a chance, read the article, look at that. Look at all the stuff, the interviews that she's been doing. I told you that she is a business partner here, and that she is a visionary in this thing. And if you read the People article that she had, she is the visionary, meaning she was the one that put this all together. She got with The Rock, and they got together. And I love this because it's even one of those things to where she even mentions, this is how smart she is. In the interview, she even goes as far as to say, it was kind of my idea. I saw the opportunity there, and I got a hold of the Rock and said, we got to do this. And he's like, I am all for it. Let's go. Let's do this. And then she goes, we started talking to bankers. We started talking to creditors. We started talking to lawyers, and we knew that we could not talk to Vince McMahon. Bam, right there. Just shows you just how smart she is and a business person, that she knows what she's doing with this stuff. So they go on to do in these interviews, and they talk about what her vision is for the XFL and what she sees. And listen, she's going to be they're going to be a two-headed monster, and they're both going to be leading this charge and working side by side, but from a different standpoint. The Rock is going to be the guy that's going to be out there, and you can see, I love it. Watch his videos, his stuff. He already has a passion. You can tell he has a passion for football, and he has a passion for the XFL, and that, because listen, he was one of those guys. He was one of those guys trying to make a pro career. He was one of those guys trying to make it in pro sports. He understands where these guys are at, and he understands the opportunity that they need. He just needed an opportunity, and it didn't work out on the football field, but man, did it work out for him in the pro, in the pro wrestling world. And to become one of the greatest of all time wrestlers, to be up there and to be a second generation to boot, a second generation of a great, and to become greater than your father, just shows how, just how good and talented he is. But he's going to be that spokesman guy. He's going to be that guy out front. He's really going to be that Oliver Luck of this tandem. Now, I still think that they need to bring Oliver Luck back, and we'll get into that type of thing. But when you look at her, she is going to be more of the business savvy, getting this thing together. And really, it's the tandem between the two that I think that really, really appeals to Redbird. Redbird sees a good product in the XFL, and they see that these two have worked really well together and put together very good products together, and that with their backing at Redbird Capital, it can really make this thing work. So let's look at her. Let's look at her stuff. And first and foremost, I think that her ideas are great. She goes, listen, they did a great thing. They were doing a great thing. And when I looked at this thing, see, this is what I love. She talks about things in this, and that the normal person isn't going to think about. And she sees foresight with this, which I think is fantastic. She says, our approach to the XFL is looking at it as a property that lives, get it here, year round, with live portion happening in the spring, the rest of the year, even during the season where we have obviously the games going on, we move through that there's so much more content storytelling that needs to happen and should happen so that there's a relevance and that the players mean something to our fans and our audience. And she goes on, she talks more about, how when she watched this, like that the XFL, these players meant things to, and the XFL meant things to the fans. And she said these fans were diehard. They were crazy. They loved their XFL. And I can tell you, I mean, if you looked at it, these games, you look at, the beer snake, you look at XFL fans, we are, and I'm talking to you guys out there, we are dedicated. We've stayed dedicated. And it's because of guys like you, that the XFL is still alive and why we're actually going to have more XFL. That's just the way that it is, and that's what it's going to be. And thank you guys for doing that and showing your passion. She saw the passion, The Rock saw the passion, and then them putting this together and what the product, because of, our following of it and the players and what the XFL brought, they brought that off the field storytelling thing. See, that's the thing that The Rock and Dany Garcia know. Listen, they know how to put together a good story and present a good story. They've had tons, not tons, but they've had a lot of blockbusters together. The Rock understands storytelling from his years in, professional wrestling, knowing what to do, knowing how to run a crowd, knowing what people want, and giving them what they want. And that's what they're going to try to do here. And I think it's fantastic. They understand that they've got a good product, and they're going to change some things and move some things around. And I think more of that looks into kind of the logistical things that just kind of didn't work for them. They talk about, we like the 8 teams and that, but we're going to have to move some things. And I think that they're going to have to move some teams. They have to do that. I think that, the inevitable move of a couple of the teams, Tampa Bay to Orlando, Dallas to San Antonio, and then moving LA to either San Diego, which I think is a better move than Oakland, but I still think Oakland would be all right. But kind of move some of these teams. I think the New York team as well needs to move to Red Bull Stadium. And I'm with you guys out there. Change the name to the New Jersey Guardians. I know that New York is bigger and draw on the market with that, but I give them a little bit of dues there in New Jersey if you're going to have the team in New Jersey. But getting back to this, it really does show she really has her hand on the temperature of what's going on. She understands where the XFL is, what the market is, and they haven't talked about any of this stuff. They know what's going on, and a lot of people have been talking about, as we're kind of moving through this thing, a lot of people have talked about, is the XFL going to do a season 2020, 2021, 2022? They're like, a lot of people are like, yeah, just sit back, and wait and that, and get your stuff together. The XFL is putting stuff together. Jeffrey Pollock, you got to give him credit, and the team that he has left of, I think there's like 7 employees left there. They've done a fantastic job of getting everything to the point to where I think they can run a 2021 season. We get through everything that's going on right now. It gets behind us. I think that they could have a really successful 2021 season. And even if so, they could even move it further than that. And I think that if we are still in this kind of crazy world that we're living in, they could do things in a bubble. They've already shown that they could do that from a training camp standpoint, and they've already done that. And if they're going to bring everybody back anyways, or at least the people that they can bring back, I think that that's going to be fantastic. I think they come in here, listen, I think you just let them buy it for $15 million and then pay everybody their dues, bring everybody back, and make the tweaks that you need to on the things that really didn't work, and get off the ground and start running with it. And I think that will be well. But everything that she's saying here, I love it, and you can already tell her business savvy with this thing, and she already has ideas and places to go with it. And she has The Rock's full confidence, and The Rock has her full confidence, which is huge. And it really shows when you get such of a large company like Red Capital to really jump in there with you. It really shows a lot of stuff. And again, it goes back to really show that the creditors have no issue with this sale. They actually like this sale. The problem is they want more money and they feel that their assets are worth more, which you can't necessarily blame them for that. But we are in bankruptcy court, so we'll see what happens. Looking at the McMahon thing, I think that they want this league. I don't think that this is a playoff to get McMahon to get it back or whatever, or they understand where they're sitting and what this is with it. This is going to be their baby. And I don't necessarily think that McMahon is going to get back in it. I think he's kind of doing what George Lucas really wanted to do with Star Wars, and just kind of give it off to somebody who could really care for it and nurture their baby that they started. And I think that that's what it looks like Vince McMahon is really trying to do, because he's really kept himself out of this thing, throughout the whole thing. And he was worth enough and that with it to where if he really wanted to still be in that world, he could have easily continued on with the XFL and done the things like that. So I'm excited about it. Things are still looking up. They're looking good. Dany Garcia, my hat's off to you. Everything I've been reading from you is pretty good. Some people have, been kind of taken back. She did make some comments that, I'm a full owner too. And you got to remember, she's literally the first woman to be a owner that's not like a team owner, a owner of a professional sports league. So this is a big deal, and it's a big deal. And, I kind of give her some props because, she's the person, it was her idea. And she got with The Rock, got everything together, and she's probably the one that's more kind of the person that's been pulling all of the ropes and the stuff behind the scenes. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure The Rock has been doing his part with it. But to feel a little kind of, hey, here are all the headlines that The Rock's buying it, but there's more than just The Rock here. And I love how she puts that. I put in my portion of the money. It was no less than his and anything like that. It has nothing to do with them. They're fine. Listen, if they can have over a decade of her managing him and them still be doing things together and them be a divorced couple, I think that things are going to be fine with them. I think that things are all right with them if they've got this going on. So I have no issues with it. It just shows her competitiveness, and it shows her, her drive in that with it, which I love. I love that with it. So I think that this is good. All in all, as I'm looking at this stuff, and that the more and more I see this, the more and more I like it, and the more that we're kind of, seeing things move here. And again, I'm really getting excited, and as I read more about the comments that she makes and what she's doing, and the excitement that The Rock has for that, I think that this is just fantastic stuff. Now, when it comes to getting the XFL back up and running and what to do there, I really like the way that they're doing it. And I'm going to say it again, that I think that they could easily pull off a 2021 season, and they might be the first actual football that we see, post this era that we're living in. I really do think that there's a really good shot that they could be the first football that we actually see on the field, real football. We'll see what happens with it. I think that there's things are looking really, really bleak for college football. I think the NFL aren't looking too much better with that. I think the NFL might be able to pull something off, but with that many people on teams and stuff, and having that many people around it, it's really going to be hard to kind of live in a bubble with that many teams and doing kind of what they're going to do and that with it. And college football is just not looking good right now. The landscape is just not. It just seems to be crumbling every day. So we'll see how things go with that. But I really truly think that they could easily pull off a 2021 season. Like I said, Jeffrey Pollock's already been moving things forward, and so things look good. And I know that there are those of you who are out there wanting to pump the brakes, but I can tell you, if another successful man is urging them to go forward and take advantage of things. Dana White from the UFC, Dana White was really coming out here and telling The Rock, telling Dany, telling them, go forward, do 2021 season, get on top of this thing. And his point is, and I think that this is a great point, a lot of these professional players are, especially the big names, are worried about what's going on right now. And so they're kind of opting out to play. And which is leaving a big hole and void for people. And people are wanting live sports, especially live football. People are going to want live football back. I mean, football is truly king when it comes to TV ratings and things of that nature. And so if there's a hole there, and you can fill it with a good product, and we already know that the XFL is a good product. And so if they can fill that in there. I mean, and two, if they can do what Dany's saying that they can do, and really take it and turn this whole thing into just kind of a yearly thing, and really telling the story of the XFL and moving it forward, moving it along, and all of that. Oh man, they are going to have a really nice, lucrative product as they go forward with things. And we'll get into more details of what I think with that, with it. But Dana White's saying, listen, I'll be your advisor on this thing. I've already kind of navigated through this world of what I've needed to do in a bubble, and I'll help them work out to get this bubble. But he's just recommending to them, you need to just move forward, and you need to figure out how to make this thing work and get your season off. And I think that that's a great thing. And that's not coming from, little old me. That's coming from a guy who's run sports leagues and knows what he's doing when it comes to that, and a really good businessman. So if that's his thing, I think that 2021, here we come. I'm getting excited for it. Everything I've been hearing, I'm excited about. It seems like they're excited for the XFL. It looks like they're both going to be very involved in it, which is good from both standpoints. I think it looks like that they're trying to bring get the band back together, get everybody back, and just get this thing ramped back up for 3.0, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited. Hopefully you're excited. We'll definitely here in the next few days get more and more details into things, and really break things down some more as things come out, but that's kind of where we sit right now, guys. I'm excited. All right, so that was a lot to cover. So hopefully you're able to take that in. Let me know down in the comments what you think. All right, guys, let's get on out of here. Go ahead. You have a good night. Stay safe and keep up the hope. Have a good one.